Hi everyone, my name is Alba Silvente and today I'm going to talk about Let's SEO be with you in your Nuxt application. Let's see. Well, first of all, I want to introduce myself a little bit. I'm working as a senior front-end consultant at Passionate People NL, a company located in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. In my spare time, I write articles about the tech stack I love, like Nuxt and Storyblog in this case, and also speak in some conference and work in some open source projects because I love open source and I want to be part of any project I can have the chance to work on. And past year, after working on some articles, I've been named ambassador at Nuxt and Storyblog, the technologies I use to create my own website, downtours.com. And this year, after some of the articles get bigger and also known, I have been named Google Developer Expert in Web Technologies, and I'm so happy and I hope to share my knowledge with you and spread the word. And now let's start with the talk. So the first thing I want to show you is why SEO and why it's important in our application, the key concepts behind it, what we need to do in order to have a good SEO. And then we will see how to build a sitemap, how to define a robust text in our project, also what meta tags and open graph we can use. And also I will explain what is structured data, also known as schema markup, and also how to create an RSS feed with your API. And then we will see a Chrome extension that will help you a lot with your check of the SEO that you are implementing. That is called Meta SEO Inspector. I will show you how it works. Then the first thing we want to know is what is SEO and why it's important for our application to have SEO. Well, SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. So it's just a digital marketing strategy that focuses on your website's presence in search results on search engines like Google. So the results that appear in a search engine like Google will be part of this SEO process. They have worked in the SEO of their websites to have the presence in that results. And why is important? Well, SEO can help you drive more people to your site. Otherwise, they will not know you. And increase your authority so they trust the content that you are sharing, and also increase the growth of your brand. And that's so important if you are building a site or a brand. So the key concepts that you need to have in mind are on-page SEO that focus on optimizing parts of your website that are within the control of the developer, because you can change it, and also the content editor, because they can create content in your site. So that determines what you rank for. For example, if you are talking about technology, you are ranking for technology. And off-page SEO, in contrary, is focused on increasing the authority, trust, and reputation of your domain, of your brand, through content creation in another places and backlinks to your site. So imagine that you have a blog, you can write in another blogs, for example, it's Massy Magazine, and they will link to your site. So in that way, you are creating off-page SEO, and that determines how high your rank is. If you have a lot of backlinks, you will have better SEO because they trust in you, and for that they are linking to your site. And basically, when you have this in mind, you need to have like a checklist for both type of SEOs. So on page, we will add in our site title tags, description tag, social tags to share in social media, alt text in our images. Then we will work in our URL structure or internal linking, for example, the breadcrumbs. We will also work a lot in the user experience, having a good page load and also mobile friendliness. So just working on the content that we have control of. And then for the off-page possibilities we have or options we have, we can create social media marketing, like posting every article that we upload to our blog, or just go to another site and start writing content there. And our brand could be mentioned without any link also. For example, Netflix, when you know Netflix, you can maybe not link to the site, but you are growing that brand because you are naming Netflix in this talk, for example. So that is what is brand mention. And then now that we have the first concept that we need to know about SEO, let's start building a sitemap. And why is the first step? Because if a search engine needs to find your site, you need to tell the search engine how. So a sitemap is just a file that is in your site that tells the search engines like Google about new or changing pages on your site. So imagine that you create a new page. Well, the sitemap will have this information, so Google knows about that URL in case you don't post it in Twitter, for example. So to do that in our project, we just need to include a module called Nuxt.js sitemap, as you can see here, and just add it to the modules and start adding the options. We have the hostname, that is our domain, the gzip true just to have this file gzip, and also trailing slash, because if you put the trailing slash to true, it will add an slash at the end of the URL. Otherwise, Google think that without the slash is a duplicated URL and will not allow that URLs to be indexed. So take care and add the trailing slash, because I have this error in the past. And then when we have this, we will generate the routes that are in our page folder. But to generate the dynamically routes, like underscores look.view, we will need to create a generator module in the modules folder to create a hook, well, to spec the hook generate done. And then when all the URLs are generated, then you will get that routes and you will add it to the sitemap. So in that case, you don't need to start adding to the sitemap the dynamic URLs by your API. You can do it just with this hook, and then the Nuxt will do it for you. So it's better because you are not calling the API twice to make the sitemap, because you have already these URLs in the generate done hook. So it's perfect and you can use it. And you just need to add it to the build modules in the Nuxt configuration, as you can see in this small image. And you will have it ready when you generate your project, basically. So the resultant file will be like this one. You will have the URLs of your site that are created. Obviously, you can add more information. In this case, there is only the localization, but you can have also the data when you updated that page or when you created the page. So maybe important information if you need to have updated content. And then now with this sitemap XML, Google can know about us, about our website, and also all the URLs that are in there. And just a quick tip that I learned over the past year is that you can promote your site in, for example, Twitter or whatever, and they will also index that sites because they are checking the URLs there. So you have both places, like sitemap and also sharing the link with Reddit or Twitter or whatever. But it's better to have a sitemap just to have the URLs that you want to show to the search engines. Then let's start defining the robust XT. So this file, what it does is just tell the search engine which pages from your site you don't want to be crawled. So for example, if you have an administration panel with login and that kind of stuff, maybe Google doesn't need to know about it. So for that, you need to specify in disallow this kind of slugs. So to do that, you just need to add the module Nuxt robust in your package JSON and just add the modules in the configuration of Nuxt and specify the options that you want to disallow or whatever you want to do. So for example, if we see the case of YouTube, we will see that they are allowing everything from the media partners Google because they want to check how many people is going to log in or whatever. But for all another user agents, they are excluding these URLs, get video, comment, the ones that you can see here. And also in a robust XT, you can specify the sitemap of your site. Because in this way, if the crawler enters in your site, maybe enters in the robust XT and can go to the sitemap by this link. So have in mind that you can add it also in the options of the configuration in Nuxt. So that's how we can crawl or not an URL in a search engine. So now that we have the basic stuff we need for SEO, let's start with the stuff that will be a different in our SEO. So first of all, the meta tags are elements of the HTML that describes the content of a web page and is used by search engines to index pages by subject. So if you have in your title whatever word, like for example Nuxt, they will know that Nuxt is the subject of your site. So the titles will be smaller than the description, obviously, because you are saying to the user where is that page in a simple keyword. So the first line of the result in a search engine, as we can see in the image in the right, my profile and Traus, we are saying that the brand is Traus. In the profile is showing the profile of Traus, basically. So we are putting what is in that page. So the first thing you need to have into account is that you need to choose that something that sounds natural, not, for example, if I put profile Traus, it's like not natural because it's my profile. So I'm talking about my profile. And it's better to use that with the keyword that will be profile. And the titles will be unique. So if you have more than one page talking about the same, you need to rethink the title, basically. And the description will give the search engine a summary of what is included in your page. So you just need to grade something for the user. Don't forget that this is the result that people will see when they are searching for something. So it's better to center everything in the user more than a search engine, because the search engine is just looking for something that the actual user is searching. So just be focused to the user and forget about the search engine. That's it. And then when we have these meta tags in our head, the first thing that we need to add is also the Open Graph, because Open Graph is a different protocol that allows us to control what content is shown when our websites are linked on social media like Twitter, LinkedIn, or wherever, or messaging platforms like Discord, Slack. When you share the link, you see this awesome card that you can see in the image in the right. And that's why, because we added the Open Graph to our meta tags. So the title and description with OG before will be the same as for title and description meta tags that we added before. So it's the same, but the URL will be the specific URL you are sharing. It's something that I don't understand, because you already have it when you share it, but they needs to have it to represent that card. And that's it. And then you can specify what type of page you are sharing. If it's a website, so a normal page like About Us, the homepage, or an article where you are writing more content. For example, this one in the right is an article, type article. So then you have more options. One of them is the image, that you can specify the image that you want to share in social media instead of the image that you are featuring in your website. For that, the people have like the content title and that cool things like the author. But then when you go to the feature image, it's not the same one. It's one for the sharing, and that's it. And then you can add a Twitter card meta tag. Also, you can add more Twitter meta tags because they have more than Open Graph. But for the Twitter card, it's so important because you are representing the image in a bigger way or a small way if you specify summary. In my case, as I like to have the image bigger, I choose summary large image. And I think most of the people are doing this because it looks better, I think. Yeah. And now to see how to implement this in Nuxt is so easy, because you can do it already in your pages in the head method without problem. You can just start adding the content there in the meta, and that's it. But as we will use it in all the pages, it's better to have it everything in one place. So what you can do is just create a plugin called, for example, Metadata, and just add the metadata you want to have. And for example, in the case of description, we have two descriptions that are linking to the same description, that are the Open Graph one and the meta tag one. So what we can do is just pass everything in our page in the head method, just injecting the add metadata method. We are just passing everything we define here to the actual head method. And in that way, you have everything in one place and you can start adding more data there without problem. And just to let you know, Nuxt is using Vue Meta, is basically doing this. So the title, meta, scripts, links that we can add is because we are using this plugin. So you can check all the documentation there and start adding more tags if you need it. And then now that we see the basic stuff also for meta tags and Open Graph, let's see how to get structured data in our project and also where it is. So structured data is code that you add to your pages to make the search engines understand better what's on your pages. So if you go to the results and you see different stuff, visual stuff like the videos or carousels for the Twitter tweets cards, for example, you can see that have a different way of looking. So that's because they add structured data to their sites. So this is called rich snippets. And as you can see in the image on the right, you will see that the first one, it has like a rating with stars. That one is because they specify that they have ratings. And also the videos are represented in that one because they created the structured data for that videos, specifying the video itself, how long it takes. So you can specify all this stuff by structured data. So Google is using schema org vocabulary and also using JSON LD format. That is what we are going to show now. So this is how in the left, we can see how the JSON LD works. So you just need to add the context, that is the vocabulary we have, schema org, and then the type of the content you are specifying. We are now specifying an article. So for the article, you have different options. You can add the headline, the title of your article, add the images that you have in your article that are important or featured. You can also add the data when it was published or modified, because in an article it's important to have the modified URL if you are updating your content, and also the author that write that article or more than one. So you just can go to this schema.org and check what you need for the type of content you are structuring. But basically, you can have with this one that we have here, you have the basic stuff for an article. So to do it in Nuxt, you have also the same as the meta tags and Open Graph. You have Vue Meta. So you can use just the JSON variable within a script tag in our head. And as you can see in the right, in the Nuxt page, the head function itself, you can just add the script and add the type that we are making now, application LD JSON, and then the JSON. And in the JSON, you will have all the stuff we see before, and also different stuff. You will see that now is graph instead of type directly. This is why, because we are adding more than one type. For example, in one page, you can have the article and also the breadcrumbs that comes from that article to the blog and then to the homepage. For that, you need to add graph, and then in the graph, an array with the types you have, the article, the breadcrumbs, whatever you want. So you can add everything here, or you can just go to the Nuxt configuration and in the head method, also add everything that is generic to your site. For example, the organization or another type of structured data that you will see in the documentation, because there is a lot and you can choose between recipes wherever you want. So you need to check the structured data from Google and you will see all the stuff that you can add to look better in the search engine. And now that we finished with the structured data, let's see how to create an RSS feed in our application. So the RSS feed is an XML file in which you will have the highlighted information of the content that you publish in your site. So for example, in my case, will be articles. So you can use that XML file that is generated to create automatic newsletters or automated social media posts, because this file will have all the information updated each time you generate a new article. So to do that, you just need to add a new module, the Nuxt.js feed, that will have the same as always. We will need to add it to the modules in the Nuxt configuration and also add options in the feed option. So the parameters that we have in our feed options are path, the route to the XML file that we will create, the create method, that is when we will specify all the options that we want to show in the feed, And also the cast time that it will show how long should the feed be cached. So for example, if you upload an article, it will be not immediately updated, but maybe 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever you put there. And then the type of feed that you are generating. In this case, we are generating RSS2, but you have another options. So what you can see in the right is just the code I have to do to get my post from my API. So I'm just calling my API, and from each of the posts that are returned, I'm just adding an item to the feed. And in that way, I could add any of the content I want. So in my case, I'm adding the title, the URL, the description, the published date, and the author, that is me. So it's and then the options that you can see before is just for the whole blog itself. And the contributor is just the author, but in the global blog itself, because maybe you have more than one, but in my case, it's only me, so it's just one person. And here you can see the result. When you are generating the RSS feed, you will see that they are returning to you all this information that we had before, and all the items will have this structure, but it's basically the same as we see in the configuration, but just generated in XML. And then in this URL, you can go and check how it is generated, and every time that is updated, you can go and take a look. And with this file, you can just update all your newsletters, and some of the also there is a lot of tools that share in social media that you need only to add this URL and don't do any with scripts or code. You can just add the URL and it will work. So it's nice to have it in case you want to spread the word of your articles. And then finally, I want to show you some extensions that I use. Well, in this case, it's only one because it's so complete and you don't need anything else to see if your SEO is well performing, and also if it's great done, if you have everything in place. So when you add this Chrome extension to your site, you will see that you have not the usual HTML meta tags like you have title, description. No, you will also have the structure that I explained you if you are doing it correctly, and it will also point any errors you have. You will see also the canonical attribute, that is an URL that is saying that that content is duplicated, but the real one is in another place. Then also the no follow links. And the header hierarchy, we can see that the H1 is in place or not. And you can see here, for example, that this is I just inspect the website of dev community, and you can see that they have H2 before H1, and that's not okay. So for that, they are telling you this error. So for that, it's nice to have this extension because you can check that you are doing it properly and you don't have any mistakes or something that you can improve. And I recommend you to install it and check your website in case you didn't add anything from SEO. Maybe you have SEO because some of the tags are already added from Nuxt, so it's helping a lot already. And basically that's it. But obviously, the SEO, you need to improve it over your creation of content. So just keep into account that you need to add useful content in your site, no content like for adding content. You need to create content that matters to the people. Also add headings in the correct order as we see before, alt for images, and also make use of internal linking because it's important to have the breadcrumbs so the people don't get lost in your site. And improve the UX because it's so important that everything is in place and the images are small so they can be loaded quickly. You have compression in your files, you have minify everything, that you have a responsive design. It's important to be aware that everyone is using the mobile these days to search any website. And also keep in mind that core web vitals will change a lot, so you need to be up to date. But basically, this is SEO. So I hope you like it and you learn a lot in this talk. And any questions do you have? I'm in dantraus.com. That is my website. And also at dantraus, that is my nick in all the social media. So I hope that you are having a great day in the Nuxt Nation conference and hope to see you soon.